Okay.
Hi there, I am Brittany Brown and I'm here with Megan, one of our Beating Binge Eating Blueprint graduates. Hi, Megan.
Hi.
Awesome. I'm so excited for this interview and to talk with you more because Megan was on her last call for at least for her Beating Binge Eating Blueprint journey with us, and hearing where she was to where she is now is just absolutely incredible. So what I'm going to do is talk to her. She struggled for about 8+ years trying so many things to feel in control of food in her body with nothing really lasting, to coming to us and being with us for about 12 weeks total and just being in this place of freedom and ease and love with her body and food. And so this interview is going to dive into her journey. You're going to learn a ton, and we'll also learn her biggest takeaways so you can apply those into your life too. So now to you, Megan. So thank you for being here. I'd love to just start with, maybe a little background. Like if you think about life, your relationship with your body and food, what all of it looked like before, that first call with us, before you kind of came our direction.
Yeah, so before I started doing the Beating Binge Eating program, um, my mind was totally consumed with just food and exercise pretty much all the time. And even if I was engaging in conversation with people, it would almost be like I was engaging in conversation, but I was like halfway there. So like I was talking back and I was acting as if I was listening, but really like my mind was just going on and on about like, oh, when is your next meal? You need to exercise like tomorrow to burn whatever off. And so it was just kind of this vicious cycle. And to now where I am, I feel just like completely free. I was driving in the car last week and I just had this moment of like, I'm not thinking about food. Like I'm not thinking about food all the time, or like purging or exercising or whatever. And it was just this feeling of like, this is how everyone should feel. So yeah, it's definitely crazy to look back and just see where I was like 12 weeks ago and then now where I am.
Yeah, I love that. And to just dial into it more. So your journey started around 16ish, when things kind of started getting out of that like easy, natural place with your food and body to where you had this strong focus on, dieting, control, all of this, right? Which stemmed into the binge eating. And then now, right now you're at about 22 years old, right?
That's correct. Yeah.
So inspirational. I wish I had all of this when I was 22. So yeah, you've come so far and I love it. So, you were in that cycle with the binge eating. And now when we look at, I know overall you're thinking about food less, you're feeling in your power, but when we really look at where you are, like, how is your relationship with food? How do you feel about it? Is it easy? Like, what does that look like?
I feel like right now, the place that I'm at, my relationship with food is more about joy and community than it is about just kind of fuel and I guess momentary satisfaction, if that makes sense. So I feel like when I think about food now, it's like I'm more concerned, or concerned isn't a good word to use. Um, I guess I find more joy in the overall experience of like just being with people in conversation than I do actually what I'm being served, which I never thought that I would come to a place where I didn't really care about what I was eating. Like I do care about what I'm eating, but I used to be one of those people that would go on before going out to eat and I'd look at the menu and I would stress about all that stuff. And so now it just feels it feels a lot more easy and just something that I look forward to doing and not something that I like dread.
I love that. And I especially love the piece about how your freedom with food is giving you more freedom in life, like able to connect with your family, your friends, the people around you. Obviously, less food focus is going to mean you have some room to focus on those things that really matter. So that
Yeah.
excites me so much. And it excites me at any age, but it really excites me in like the late teens, early 20s, because you have your whole life ahead of you, you know, and I mean, we all have our whole lives ahead of us. And there's just something magical about you taking this type of freedom into like adulthood, you know, that's just so exciting. So I know you have some really profound insights and some really big shifts that happen for you. So, you know, while we're talking food, I'd love to talk like food, body, and life. You know, while we're talking food, let's, what's your biggest either tool, mindset shift, perspective, your thing that helped you really get to this place of freedom and ease with your food?
I think the biggest tool for me slash takeaway was probably just kind of going back over what love actually is, because there's so many times, I guess in the past before doing this program, where if someone were to ask me like, do you love yourself, like, or do you think you're beautiful, like my answer would be yes, like I love myself and I do think I'm beautiful. But it was just kind of like this head knowledge, and I think I talked to you a little bit about it on the call, or I talked to somebody, but just basically through doing this program, I felt like a lot of the head knowledge that I had, it started to become like heart knowledge, and just gave me a lot of like proactive tools that I could use to actually like ingrain that to become a belief system and not just like something that I was told through whoever told it to me, whether it was like media or TV. But no, I'm actually beautiful, and I believe that now. Um, and even just like the way I treat myself has changed too. And just going back and realizing like love isn't controlling, love isn't manipulating. Love is like the opposite of fear. And there would be times in my life where I would like speak those words over like young women. I have a passion like for mentoring younger girls, and I would like speak that into their life. And then through doing this program, I would realize, oh my gosh, like I'm giving this to everybody else, but I'm not actually receiving this for myself. And I think it was just kind of like, honestly, pride just like coming up and being like masking itself as thinking about what's wrong with me, when actually it, I don't know if I'm making sense. It was like all my thoughts were about what's wrong with me, but I didn't see what was wrong about that, if that makes sense. Like it was just so
Yes.
normal. Um, and so, yeah, that was probably my biggest takeaway, was just realizing that I am worthy, and deserving of love just as much as anybody else, and to treat myself in ways that reflect that.
I love that. I love that. It sounds like to me, it's like the embodiment of that, which we talk about, right? You know,
Yeah,
there's the like, you know, Instagram memes that are like, love yourself. And, you know, and, you know, we can all post them and read them and like get that feel good feeling for a second. But it's not like, you know, no one can see my hands. I'm like grabbing my stomach because it's like it's not embodied. It's not like
right.
you living and breathing from that place. And it's so interesting when I talk to you now, I can feel that radiating and coming out of you. And like, you just really, truly, like, you're not just talking about it. It's you, you know, it's a part of you. And I love that. And that perspective, a kind of shift of like, whoa, you know, so many other people, I can give this love to so many others. I can talk about this, but I'm not really experiencing it. And I think a lot of us feel like, the criticism, the how far we need to go, the all of that is the way to change, right? Like if I
Right.
criticize myself, if I, you know, think about all the things I need to do, then I'm going to change. And like, really, how's that working out for everyone? It's not, you know? So I love that idea of like changing through love and partnership and working with yourself instead of that fight. That's really beautiful.
Yeah. And even on that, like what you were saying about like looking at other people, I feel like a big thing that came up for me was comparison too. I didn't realize how much I compared myself to other people. And even when I first started the Beating Bitch Eating program, I would hear people on the call that maybe they were on like week 3 or week 4 or something, and I was on the same week as them, and they might be having like these massive breakthroughs. And I'm just kind of like, I feel like I'm doing okay, but just kind of like coasting along. And so I would sometimes wonder, you know, what's wrong with my journey? And um, I guess I just think about this picture of like someone who's trying to wear clown shoes. And it's like these shoes aren't made for them to walk in. So, of course, like they're going to stumble because these aren't the shoes that were made for them. And so I felt like kind of the first couple weeks was kind of me like kind of fumbling around and being like, oh, well, this person's doing this. And like, this is really working for this person. But I think finally it was like about week 3 or week 4 really. And even towards the end where I just started to like embrace like my journey for what it is and just realizing that comparison, like it is the thief of joy. Like it's the thief of everything, I feel like. So yeah, just when you were talking about that, it made me think, just as an encouragement to anybody else, that your walk and like your journey is so unique to who you are, and other people will learn from bits and pieces of it. But just to, yeah, don't be discouraged if like, you know, you hear somebody that's just having this super easy time and you're having a really rough go or whatever, that it will work for good. Like it'll all work for your good.
Yeah, that's so beautiful. It's the, we always say trust the process, trust your journey, all of it, but there's something about the way you just shared it that is just such a beautiful reminder to really realize like there's twists and turns and ups and downs and all of it to every journey, and it is actually what you learn in those times of pushback that tend to be the biggest breakthroughs. So yeah, it's just embracing all of that. So I love that. So, I know you tried different things before. I know you tried different diets, controlling your food, all kinds of different methods, right? What do you feel like was the thing that made this really different for you? Like the thing that stuck out that really had you be able to like embody these changes, integrate, actually feel true freedom, not like forced freedom where you're forcing yourself not to binge, but like you're not having the urges to binge. So what do you think was the difference or maybe the shift that really supported you in that?
I think what first surprised me was that with this program, like, yes, there's like steps and there's different modules and different pieces that you kind of put together, but there wasn't like a real formula where it was like, you have to do this. And then when you do this, like, you'll get this. And if you're not doing that, then you won't get this. And it's just like very black or white. And I felt like with this, um, I mean, it's basically just learning to listen to your body and learning to listen like to what you need and sort of tuning out all those noises of like, this is what you should do. This is what it looks like to be successful. And so I think like once I sort of started to clear my mind of like what success or like what a healthy body looks like in the world's eyes compared to like what it really should look like for me as an individual, I think that's where a lot of shifts started to happen. And what I noticed to be different was that it felt very empowering. And like you said, like it isn't restriction. Um, and I think too, along with the program, like, sorry, I just like lost my train of
It's
thought there.
okay.
I live in Texas and it like never rains where I am at, and it's been like pouring. So I'm just
Oh,
kind of like
wow.
in awe. Um, gosh.
I think you were saying aside from the program.
Yeah, it just didn't feel like super forced. It was empowering and challenging at the same time. And that's what I loved, was that there wasn't any guilt or shame. Like a lot of other programs, they'll say like, well, if this isn't working for you, then you're just not doing it right. And then that brings kind of a lot of shame and guilt happening. And they just try to work around like what you're not doing right. But this program really focuses like, no, what can you do? Like instead of focusing on what you can't do, it's about what you can do. And that's really what I'm learning freedom is. It's like, these things aren't going to benefit me, but let's focus on the things that do. And so I just felt like it was almost like dieting is like just being in this cage, and listening to my body is just like running through an open field. That's how I feel. That's how I felt through this whole program. It was like, can I really eat this? Like, do I want this right now? And then it was just like, yes, I do. It's okay.
I love that. Yeah, that's really beautiful. And it's interesting because like behind the scenes underneath the program there is like so much systematic, like I know what phases your brain and body are in when you're applying the tools, right? And like, so everything is presented like behind the scenes underneath the surface it was created is so systematic. And nothing comes in a random order. Like it comes in a certain order for a certain reason and things like that.
Right.
But I did my best to present it in a way that was clear, you know, so
Yeah.
you know what to implement, what to do. You're not just like, you know, even though running through the field sounds amazing, you're not just like out there on your own trying to figure it all out.
Yes.
However, you do feel free, and we do focus on what works, and we focus on what's working for you and doing more of that. And yeah, all of it. So I love everything you said. And I just love this. I love that you're getting to experience freedom and, you know, really tapping into your body and working with it instead of against it, like dieting really does. So yeah, Megan, this interview's been incredible. I'm curious, you know that feeling where you have been binging and you're searching for answers and you don't know if it's like you're at the fork in the road. You're like, I know I don't want to diet anymore, but I don't know what to do besides that. And you just are like
Right.
searching for answers. What would you say to someone who just kind of stumbles across us for the first time? You know, is in one of those like fork in the road moments where they're not knowing what they want to do, but kind of know they need to do something different. Any words of wisdom, encouragement, anything like that?
Yeah. I was in the same place, and I'm sure most people that discover this program,
I was
um, yeah, find themselves to be in that place. So I think the night that I found this program, I had just binged, and my cycle was like I would binge and then I would like go on YouTube and I would like scroll through like, how do I stop this? Like, what's the solution? Like while I'm still eating, I'm like trying to find the solution. And then you popped up, and so I just clicked on it and I watched it, and I was like, this isn't like, there's just something different about it. And so I like watched more videos, and then I found out about the free call. And for me, I'm a very like visual person and a very spiritual person. And so like whenever I saw the butterfly has a lot of like meaning in my life. So I was like, oh, like maybe this means something. And I think just getting on the call with Stella was who I talked with. It just didn't feel forced. It was all about like she wanted to hear about what was going on. And she was super encouraging, like, I know that this is going to work for you. But at the same time, like she gave me my space to kind of like think about it. I know it's a lot of money. It's not a lot of money compared to other programs if you look at it. And I just realized like this is going to be worth it in the long run. Like my whole life binging compared to like just sacrificing or giving up this amount, it was more than worth it. So I guess I would encourage people like um, just to kind of look at the long term and like what's the worst that could happen. That's kind of like how I came into it. Like I didn't really know much else about it other than just the YouTube videos and then getting on the call with Stella. So I think just like trust what your gut is telling you to do, because I think you'll know what decision you should make. And if there's like any fear around like getting vulnerable and like sharing with other people, like you need more people to break this, because it's amazing how just like when you're like, yes, I'm struggling with this, and when you share it with someone else, it it kind of like releases something, almost like bringing it to light really allows you to just see like, oh, I'm not the only one who's going through this, like there are other people too. And I think that community is a big thing. And I just want to encourage you, like, if you are watching this right now and you're not sure whether this program is for you, like, just know that you're going to be supported by like a very loving community, and it's not people who think they know it all or know all the answers. We're literally just like doing this with each other, and obviously we have the people that have gone through this, like Brittany and Stella and Amanda and everyone else, that's kind of there to like sort of guide you along and guide your thought processes. I can't talk right now. But yeah, I just think that that's such a huge thing, and like, none of us can do this on our own. So I just think like that's something that it brought to my life that I didn't really have around this before. So yeah.
I think one of my favorite parts of our program is the community. I'll look, you post something, and then I would take, an hour to look at it, and all of a sudden there's 4, 5, 6 comments of like support and great information and good tools. And I'm just like, whoa, it's just such a supportive, loving space. And I'm with you. I was on a call with someone actually the other day, and she was like, and I think I'm just going to try to like use this stuff and do it on my own. And I was like, that's okay. Like, if that's where you're at right now and you're in a place where you do want to just try it on your own, by all means, like, follow your heart. And I just want to let you know, like, you don't actually have to do it on your own. You don't have to be out there like trying to decipher through these mental thoughts that are spiraling on your own. Like, there's a loving community here that knows the path out, so you don't have to like do what I did, 15 years of all over the place with my food and body trying to figure it out, So yeah. So I love everything you've said, Megan. This has been just a really powerful interview, and I love the piece about the self-love, and yeah, just really magical. So I'm curious, before we sign off for the day, anything else you want to say? And all good if you don't have anything else, but just curious, wanted to check in with you.
Yeah, I mean, I can't reiterate it enough, but just keep going. Like, if you are on this journey, don't look back. Like, just keep looking forwards. And I think that's what really got me through a lot of moments where, I was feeling like I was making breakthroughs, and then I would have like little bingey moments of like bingey behavior, and I would be like, oh my gosh, has anything changed? And so I think just really keeping like the vision. You talk about visualization a lot, but just keeping like who you really are in your forefront. I think that was so key for me. And even I wanted to share this with you, Brittany, in person, but hopefully I don't start crying while I'm sharing it.
Aww.
But before I did this program, it was like 2 years ago, and it was when I was anorexic, and I was dealing with that before I kind of came over into the binging side of things. And it was when I was maybe like 98 pounds. And so, like I said, I'm 5'6". So for me, that was a really unhealthy weight to be at. And I just remember like being in this horrible cycle of like constantly exercising, not eating enough. And I wanted it to end, but I didn't know how to put a stop to it. And I remember just journaling, and I actually I had a vision. I know some people don't believe in that, but I did have a vision. And in the vision, I was standing like on this diving board almost. And there was this pool that I was going to jump in from the diving board off. And it looked super clear. Like, I wanted to jump into the pool. And so I jump off the diving board, and I just I don't even go through the water. There's like glass covering the water. And I'm like kind of begging on the glass, and I can't get through it to the water. And I just heard this voice be like, you need more people to break the glass. And in that moment, like, I knew that I needed a community, and I knew that I was going to need something else bigger than just like me trying to figure it out. But really, whatever you believe, like, you need, for me, my source is Jesus, but you really do need that, and you need other people. Like, it's so key. And So yeah, I just wanted to share that with you guys. Like, this really did help me break that glass, and I feel like I'm able to finally swim in
Yeah.
that water now, which is so awesome. So thank you so much, Brittany.
I love that. I'm spiritual too. I love what you said, the faith and the community, you know. I think that's beautiful. I think it's great. And no matter what your faith is, like it's the belief that you're meant for more, right? Belief that this isn't supposed to, you know, take your knees out from under you every day, you know, and just trusting in that and having that faith. And I think that's beautiful. And I love the vision. And I'm so glad we could support you in breaking through the glass.
Yeah.
Like that's, I will always, by the way, remember that like visualization. I probably will use it when I'm talking to others because it's really powerful. And yeah, you don't have to sit there and bang on the glass by yourself.
Yeah.
You know, there are people that will love and support you, and people who've been through it, who know what a binge urge feels like and knows what it feels like to be on the glass trying to break through themselves, you know? So
Yeah.
yeah, Megan, I mean, that touches my heart in so many ways. So many. I'm giving you a big virtual hug from here.
Oh,
But thank you for sharing that. It's just powerful and really beautiful. And speaking of butterflies, it's I would say like that's what, when I think of you and your journey, you know, that's what it reminds me of, right? Is there's the cocoon's like not always the most comfortable, you know, of
yeah.
course. But then you just seem so in your power and like radiant, like you can feel that inner love shining out. And so it's just been really beautiful to be a part of and watch you grow.
Thank you so much. It's
Yeah.
been an amazing journey.
Yeah, you're so welcome.